We had a lot of movement with the transfer portal, with a pretty big quarterback name entering. He's widely considered to be the top quarterback available in the portal and is a way too early Heisman candidate for the 2025 season. We don't know where he's going to end up, but there are reports that an SEC school is offering $1.5 million for his services. But before we get to today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel, so make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. We'll kick off today's video with the biggest quarterback that's currently in the transfer portal. For weeks, there have been rumors that he'd enter, but he finally did the other day. Washington State quarterback John Mateer was one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football in 2024, and according to reports, he might be getting a pretty big payday at his next school. According to college football insider John Canzano, one school is reportedly offering $1.5 million to lure him from Washington State. He reported this in a recent article where he dove into the behind-the-scenes effort by Washington State to try and keep John Mateer in Pullman. Those efforts featured an NIL package and messages from program legends such as Jack Thompson and Ryan Leaf. Here's more about what Canzano wrote in his article. Two donors who developed friendships with Mateer in the last couple of years told me they opted not to attend the meeting out of respect. They didn't want to be selfish and put undue pressure on Mateer, who is being wooed with the weight of a $1.5 million NIL package from an SEC school, among others. Like I mentioned, Mateer was one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football last year. He threw for over 3,100 yards and had 29 passing touchdowns with 7 interceptions. He added over 800 yards on the ground and had 15 rushing touchdowns. His 44 combined touchdowns led all players in college football this season, and his 4,000 yards of total offense was 5th. Despite those crazy numbers, he somehow didn't finish inside the top 10 of Heisman voting. But considering some of the ballots that we saw from Heisman voters, this shouldn't come as a major surprise. I said this a few weeks ago, but my personal pick for John Mateer is Oklahoma, and that seems to be the team that everyone is guessing, but it's unknown if they're the SEC team that is willing to offer $1.5 million. Considering they're viewed as the favorites, it could be another SEC team that is offering him that bag to try and keep him away from Oklahoma. Mateer's connection to Oklahoma comes from Washington State's offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle, who became the offensive coordinator for the Sooners in early December. Now, if I'm Mateer, why would I want to go to Oklahoma unless it's really about the money? They were a complete disaster last year. Now, granted, he's going to have his former offensive coordinator there, but hasn't Oklahoma lost like all of their wide receivers to the transfer portal so far this offseason? So as of right now, who exactly is he going to be throwing the ball to? Today, On3 reported that Miami could be another team that's in the mix for Mateer. Now, wouldn't that be something? After taking Washington State's quarterback last offseason in Cam Ward, the Hurricanes could do it once again to the Cougars. Now, that would just be completely disrespectful, and I would really feel for Washington State fans and understand why they'd have a hatred for Miami. My pick is still Oklahoma for John Mateer, but it's going to be interesting to follow this and see where he ends up, considering he's a Heisman caliber quarterback, and if he goes to the right situation, he very well could win it all in 2025. We'll get to some pretty big transfer news that dropped just before I hit record on this video, as USC lost a couple of other key pieces. Both Zachariah and Zion Branch will be entering the portal, and it's expected that both brothers are going to end up at the same school once again. Zachariah Branch was tied for the team lead in receptions in 2024, as he caught 47 passes for 500 yards with 1 touchdown. During his time at USC, he caught 78 passes for over 800 yards with 3 touchdowns. Branch was the nation's best return man in 2023. He had 16 punt returns that he returned for 330 yards with a touchdown. He also had 24 kickoff returns that he took for 450 yards with another touchdown. He won the Jet Award, which goes to the best returner in the country, and he became USC's first ever true freshman first-team All-American. He was one of the more exciting players in all of college football as a true freshman, but he definitely took a step back in 2024, and that's probably because he went from Caleb Williams throwing him the ball to Miller Moss. Meanwhile, with Zion Branch, he battled 2 significant injuries in his 3 years with the Trojans. He finishes his career with 41 tackles, including 3 tackles for loss and a sack. He started the game against Rutgers this season and played in 9 others, though he saw just 3 snaps on defense in the season finale against Notre Dame and only only 18 total snaps of the final 3 games of the year. Alright, let's get to some more players who recently entered the transfer portal. We'll start with former Michigan quarterback Alex Orji, who was expected to be Michigan's starting quarterback for all of 2024. Overall, Orji appeared in 20 games with 3 starts across 3 seasons for the Wolverines, but it became pretty evident he didn't have what it took to be a starting quarterback for a pretty good team. Orji did lead Michigan to a win over USC earlier in the season, but in that game he threw for only 32 yards. The following week, Michigan took down Minnesota, but even though this was considered his best game, he only threw for 86 yards. The following week, Michigan was trailing on the road at Washington, and Orji had thrown for only 15 yards. At that point, he was pulled for Jack Tuttle. Overall, Orji completed only 2 of 14 passes of 10 or more air yards during his career, and 5 of 15 passes under pressure. Now, based on those numbers, I think it's pretty easy to see why he didn't start another game. In his career, Orji completed 24 of 45 passes for a completion percentage just above 50%. He threw for 150 yards with 3 passing touchdowns and had 1 interception. Despite being Anthony Richardson 2.0 through the air, Orji at least provided value on the ground, as he ran for 400 yards with 4 rushing touchdowns while averaging more than 5 yards a carry. In Orji's 3 starts, he was held to 32 or fewer yards through the air in 2 of those games. He didn't have a single game where he completed 60% of his passes or surpassed 90 passing yards. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up, or if he'll remain as a starting quarterback. The next transfer portal move came as a bit of a surprise, as Army running back Kanye Udoh entered the portal. Udoh was one of the top running backs in all of college football this season. He ran for over 1,100 yards and had 10 rushing touchdowns. Now, considering his quarterback ran for 1,500 yards and had 29 touchdowns, those numbers that he finished with are actually pretty impressive. Udoh had 5 games this season with 100 plus rushing yards and had 2 games with 150 plus rushing yards. Unlike many Army recruits who don't receive offers from other Division I programs, Udoh actually got interest from West Virginia and Syracuse coming out of high school. Now, all West Point students in their freshman and sophomore years are able to transfer out of the academy. However, once they attend their first day of classes as a junior, they are unable to transfer moving forward. Now, I didn't know this. I thought once you were at a service academy, you had to stay there and were committed. So the fact that he's able to transfer out because he's only a sophomore, well, you learn something new every day. In my video yesterday, I talked about Virginia landing former North Texas quarterback Chandler Morris, and how it was a big pickup for the school. Well, after 1 day there, he's already lost his top weapon. Wide receiver Malachi Fields entered the portal, leaving as one of the better wide receivers in Virginia history. He's 11th all-time in receptions and 9th all-time in receiving yards. And the crazy thing is, almost all of that production came in just the last 2 seasons. During his first 2 seasons with the Cavaliers, he only caught 16 passes for 200 yards. Over his last 2 seasons, Fields caught 113 passes for 1,600 yards and had 10 receiving touchdowns. Now, it's kind of creepy because his numbers in 2023 and 2024 were nearly identical. In 2023, he had 58 receptions, while in 2024, he had 55. In 2023, he had 811 receiving yards. In 2024, he had 808. In 2023, he had 5 receiving touchdowns, and in 2024, you guessed it, he also had 5 receiving touchdowns. Considering he put up those numbers with terrible quarterback play, imagine the numbers he's going to put up if he has a good quarterback throwing him the ball. Well, that wraps it up for today's video. Where do you think the players that enter the portal are going to end up? Whatever your crystal ball prediction says, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos all off season long, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm, and it helps share this video and my channel with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.